Karen, do you remember the game red light, green light when you were a kid?
Yes.
I feel like we're living that right now. At least I feel like it. Like
Uh-huh.
you're rushing ahead and then you gotta stop.
Yes. I'm Karen, a holistic business coach, helping soul led entrepreneurs build sustainable success without burnout or the BS.
And I'm Heather, a spiritual life guide, intuitive astrologer, and energy alchemist, here to help you align with your soul path.
Each week, we'll blend grounded strategy with cosmic insight, giving you the tools to grow your business your way. This is Align and Grind.
Let's do it the soul-led way. So we're
Yeah.
still kind of in that full moon energy. Uh,
Yeah. Like 3 days before and 3 days after,
yeah. So
roughly.
it, today's Wednesday, it was Monday. So yeah, we're definitely still in it. So we had the Scorpio full moon. And anytime we have a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other in the sky. So in opposite zodiac signs. That's why
Yeah.
the sun casts its light on the moon. That's why it looks full. But so with the sun being in Taurus and the moon being in Scorpio, I think it's a good time to talk about that axis because when we talk about Taurus as being the sign where we cultivate, where we plant our seeds, and it's an earth sign, uh,
Yeah.
and it's fixed, and so is Scorpio. It's a fixed axis, and then Scorpio is where we're transforming, and it's fixed, but it's more fluid. It's a water sign, so think of how water then turns into vapor, fog, liquid. When we can find the balance between any two signs that are opposite each other, that's where we find like that sweet spot. And I've found it so relevant to my life recently because you had taught me with my website. So I think this is a good lesson for everyone running a business that in for my business to have like an offer that people can clearly identify. What did you say? Like, how quickly should someone be able to pick that up? Like, if they go,
Oh, so the like as far as like when they're on their website, like kind of like you have like 2 seconds or less for people to like get to your website and figure out what they want to do.
and for them to like know the message, you had said something like that, like
Yeah.
where they can tell, what is it like, where they can tell what you're offering or what your main.
Right. So basically you want to be able to say in a millisecond what it is that you're solving for them.
Yes, okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever their pain point, or if you are an expense, somebody that gives an experience, so like a travel agent, or like what's the experience, they want to be able to tell that within the first like second of looking at your website that this is a place I'm going to get the solution that I need.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think I had it down when you and I were working together, and then I'd kind of strayed from that because I'd changed things and transformed things too much, where then it was overwhelming. And that came to my attention because I had someone um, who I'm running a space from. She asked if I'd like to offer a free service to like promote my business, and I said yes. And she asked me to type something up because she didn't quite understand my services. So I was like,
Mm.
oh, okay. So now I need to go and look at my website and see what went wrong. So
Yeah.
then normal me would go full on Scorpio and maybe transform everything. But maybe not because I do have some of that Scorpio where, I'm like stubborn, like I like what I do. I don't want to change. I like all these modalities, but you were in my mind. And okay, what can I do? And I just changed the main offer. So I have the pain point, and then I have a little like subtext, and then I have book a clarity session so that it would go to a 15-minute session. I have that twice on my website. And then further down, I have here's how else I can help. I do other
Yeah.
things. Here's other ways I can help. But I thought, well, if I have that, it's very clear what I do. And then I think that I could then be like Taurus, where I can get them in at this 15-minute clarity session, fixed price, very simple, like 15 minutes, one answer, clear insight. And
Yeah.
then after that, then I can upgrade or upsell, I guess. I hate to use that word,
Right.
if they liked me, because this is a low entry point for them, and like if they
Yeah.
liked that and they liked me and they think, well, there's other things in my life too. I don't just have one question, I have other things, then I can try to cultivate that growth with that client, like you had taught me, like how do you nurture that relationship and then try to get them into the hour-long session.
Right. Good. Good.
So yeah, so I was like, oh, look at me finding the balance between Taurus and Scorpio and making some adjustments without totally transforming or without being really stubborn in my
Yeah.
messaging. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's it, right? It's all about what's that messaging? And, like we did something this weekend and it didn't land and we were surprised. Like we thought for sure we were on point with what we were offering for Mother's Day and we missed it completely.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I was really surprised. And so I was like, okay, like this is like with everything going on, like economically for people and the uncertainty, that this would be a great way for people to kind of get into the community and kind of get their feet wet without a huge commitment. And we missed, like, it was like zero
Hmm.
on the conversion. And we were like, how is that possible? Out of like almost 3,000 people, how is it like we missed it so blatantly? And so now it's like, go back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, what was the language we used? Were we not clear? Like, did we like, right? So taking it from the idea to concept and then implementation, there was a disconnect someplace.
Mhm.
One, like that's the brain side, right? Like that's the work side. But then when I think from the woo side, I'm going, okay, so was the number not right? Did I not do enough energetic work around the number, like the numbers that were involved?
Oh,
Did
like
I,
price?
yeah, like pricing, length of time, like, so did I, because it was like enroll for 1 month, you get 11 free. So were those numbers not correct? Did we express, right? Should we have, instead of like 99, should I have looked at a different pricing? Like 1 month gets 6 months free. So it's love based instead of like the master number of 11. Maybe that was too high of an energetic number.
I like how you're using the numerology in there because there's obviously like the psychological component to it.
Yeah,
Like people prefer numbers like the end in a 99 or a 97 versus a 00.
right.
You see that in stores, but bring in the numerology. I love that.
Right. So then I'm like going, okay, well, because 99 is like it's the completion, right? But even still, it's like 99.99. So that's really 36, which then comes back to 9. So it's like a completion. So I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have used a completion number.
I think we in the community notes we should link the numerology, like what everything looks.
Yeah. Because that was the one piece I didn't do the work part of in that section of the woo, right? Like I just was like, okay, like that's the investment for 1 month, so I'm just going to stick with it.
Mhm.
And I'm like going, oh, okay, maybe I need to. So, so we're actually working on something now to kind of rework it
That makes sense.
in time for like the May long weekend and kind of do something for Memorial Day weekend where it's kind of the same offer, but the numbers are different.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Isn't it interesting how as we try, I mean, I guess you could say in a way money is always um, not necessarily a concern, but something that we're looking at as business owners, but that it does, if you start to track it with the sun cycle, it does really come up during this time. Like I
Yeah.
watch it for myself and that concern like will come up or that like question.
Well, yeah. So talking about right. So the manifestation piece, I think we were kind of talking about that before we got on air, right? It's kind of like, so what was my motivation behind holding the Mother's Day special as well,
Oh, yeah.
right? Coming from where was I coming from energetically?
So where were you coming from?
From a place of fear and lack.
Like I need to get people in, I need to start.
I need to, yeah, like I need to get this going. Like I really need to get this moving. Like this has to, right? And like, why are not people doing
Mhm.
it?
Yeah.
Right. So really kind of coming from that place, I think also impacted then the outcome, right?
Mhm.
So
I know it's an interesting thing. It gets a little philosophical in a way because we need our needs met with money, and we need it to survive in this world. But we
yeah,
also, if I had all the money in the world, I would still do what I do. So it's not a question of I'm doing it for the money. I'm doing it because this is my purpose and this is aligned with my values, but also the money part has to play into it at some point. So
right.
reframing how we maybe how would you say like maybe taking at least being self-aware when we know that we may be doing an offer just based on scarcity or only coming from a place of the abundance that I can offer you.
Yeah. And I think it's like that, like failing to plan is planning to fail. Like that's kind of like the old business adage. And this is where it was like off the cuff, knee jerk reaction. So you're coming from that scarcity, that place of fear instead of planning for it.
Mhm.
Where, right? So if you actually plan what you're going to be doing, then that your mindset is completely different. And the energy that you're doing and working with, right? Because everything you're doing with business is infused with your love and energy. So as you're creating it, where where are you at? So as I created it, I was like, okay, this has got to be the solution. Then as soon as, my VA and I, we had a conversation on Monday. We're like, no, we're not extending it. Like, we're not gonna, we missed the mark, but we're not extending it. And then it shifted the very next day.
Oh, like you started to get people
The very next day.
after the sale was done.
Yep.
Do you think that, okay, so definitely because you and I believe so much in energy and that's huge. Like the love that we put into something while we're planning. I like how you said that. And it just this is so Taurus of me now. It reminded me of food. Like if you put love into, while I'm not a cook, but when I do sometimes put love into what I'm cooking, it's like it tastes better. Uh,
Right.
so whatever we are putting out into the world, if we have a lot of love in it and the right intentions, I think that that does land differently for sure.
Yeah.
Um, do you also think that there's something around people value things more if they're not like completely reduced in
Yeah.
price?
Yeah. Like I think people start to say, well, why are they discounting it? Because if they're discounting it, does it really hold the value that was originally? Right. So there is that too, where you're kind of playing into, well, if I'm devaluing it, then other people are going to see it as a devalue.
So how do people work around that? Like if you are like, okay, I need to get traction. I need to get people in to see how I work, to understand this value. Because that's, I think, so frustrating, at least in my situation. And I'm sure everyone
Yeah.
felt this at some point where it's like, I know that I have value in what I offer, and I know that it's helpful, the knowledge and skills, and I know
Right.
a helpful thing, but it gets frustrating if people don't understand. Like what you offer is so helpful. You see how it transforms people, but when people don't realize the value in what you're offering, it gets frustrating.
And
So
I think it's that experience, right? They have to have the experience. And so I think through, what we're doing right now, right? So we're having these conversations. So people are able to see firsthand the experience, the value, right? But how do you convey that on your website and through static content?
mhm.
And it really comes down to the choice of words and what you're sharing. So are you sharing like video testimonials? Are you sharing testimonials on your website? Are you not? Right? And do you stay in alignment? And so and then consistency, just keep showing up and being persistent.
So Taurus also, yeah, the consistency, making sure that you're very good at that.
So it's yeah, and I was talking to somebody about that yesterday, right? It's like you just got to keep showing up and just start. Don't wait, right? So like one of my clients is doing a rebrand, and the the graphic designer missed the mark completely, even though they gave very clear and actually gave them. And so it's like, use this and just start. Just start posting, start creating the content, start just putting it out there, because they sell an experience,
Mhm.
right? So for that, it's like, okay, show them the experience they're going to have.
Mhm.
You've got something to start. It's a soft launch. Don't worry about it, because it's the experience, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So you just got to start, even if it's not perfect. And that's part of that client's issue, is the perfection piece, right? It's got to be absolutely perfect.
Oh, letting go of that.
Just let go of the perfection.
Oh my gosh, that's so big right now too. I
Yeah.
have to throw in more astrology because the South Node is in Virgo, which means collectively we need to move away from that perfectionist tendency.
Yeah.
I struggle with that too. I understand that.
So I've been doing the shorts on YouTube,
Mhm.
and I forced myself to do the 15 seconds.
Mhm.
And now I'm not allowed to re-record it more than 3 times.
That's impressive. I think it takes me longer to do something quick than it does to do this.
Yeah. Like I was like, because I kept like, going back, restart. And I'm like, Karen, you can't do that. Because the whole point is being authentic and genuine. If it ends kind of abruptly and you're like halfway through a word, oh wow, that's what you get in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of pushing myself, because when I'm like, if you got to be genuine, right? So now you're talking about your values and staying true to who you are. I'm like, they're not expecting perfection. They're wanting to see the real you. So 15 seconds is all you're giving yourself.
So this too, oops, I just knocked this all around. I think it comes down to how we value ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. But because I think that we can focus so much on how we're perceived and how we're coming across or how we're delivering the message rather than like what we're giving to the person behind the camera,
Yeah.
value that we're, serving them with. I think that if we take that focus off of ourselves and focus on that, like I'm doing this because maybe even one person is helped by it. So,
Right.
but I think to be able to do that, we have to feel like we're worthy enough to deliver that message.
Yeah. And it's interesting because so I put it out there, and now I'm getting people to email me going, we can help you. And they like analyze my YouTube channel and show me all the disconnects. And I'm like, yeah, great. Okay. But right now I'm still working on being consistent and just showing up and challenging myself
Mhm.
with doing the content and being genuine. Like, you build it and they will come. That's what I keep thinking. And I'm like, I'm not going to worry about if things aren't perfect. If it doesn't say this perfectly, I'm just like, so again, modeling, right? For you guys to say, if I can do it, then anybody can do it, because who am I? Right?
In this the media part, which we'll really get into in Gemini season, but it's so important right now, and we can't afford to wait until we're perfect because that'll never happen. But we learn as we go, also.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can attest to that. Like if you go back to when you started to now you can change how you do things, how you deliver things. Not only are you improving, but you're learning a different process as you go.
Yeah. So it's interesting you're talking about that, right? In the beginning, it was like everything had to be perfect. I had it verbatim, and I would like read it like 10 times before I try and record it. And, just kind of all the notes and all the things. And then last Friday or the Friday before, I literally put my sunglasses on my head, put up my phone and recorded whatever I recorded. And it got like 1,100 views, versus everything else is like around 200. And I'm like, that's literally like as genuine as you can get.
So maybe that's the ticket. Is that why you started doing the really short shorts?
Yeah, because I'm like, that's genuine. Like that's me, like no makeup, just coming in from walking the dog or whatever, and recording whatever was on my mind for the 15 seconds regarding like the morning musings, like whatever that topic was. I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna,
Because again, that's relatable too.
yeah. I'm like, oh, maybe that's my shtick. Maybe I gotta have my sunglasses on my head. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm just thinking about what I looked like before I got on here. It's like clean this morning. Like if I came on looking like that,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
know. I'm like, at least be presentable. But then I watch, like, because I go to Substack for my news. I don't watch legacy media. And like I watch some of these guys that get on and do updates, and like they literally are rolling out of bed, some of them,
To be a man.
right? I'm
But
like,
I don't care what anyone looks like.
no,
Man, woman,
yeah,
pajamas. I mean, I love, and I honestly, I love the people that come on, no makeup, hair in a messy bun. First thing, like if you, what your message is or what you're saying is important. And if you have that spark in that moment, which I know that that's my design, how I'm supposed to do this,
yeah,
uh, like it inspires me.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Now you just got to lean in. Well, and that was the challenge inside the Facebook group today. Was my question is if you could do a video, like what would you do it on? What would you do it on? And it's like I would introduce myself. So I'm like, then record it 1 to 3 minutes, no more, and post it. Like, don't wait, just do it. And
Do-
I
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what I've been learning the last 6 months for sure is don't second guess.
Mhm.
Just do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do you think that people, and I know the answer to this question, but struggle with feeling like what they have to say is valuable enough? But then they'll see other, like for me, I'll just say it. Okay. So I see other people deliver a message that I'm like, I know that, or I have, but I'm not doing it.
Right.
So why do you think that is that we feel that way? Or maybe just certain people feel that way. Like, I don't know. Do you just have to own it and just be like, I know that this message is important?
I think it's the confidence. I don't look good enough in camera.
Mhm.
And I'm going to talk about women for a second, right? I'm overweight. I'm not pretty enough. My hair isn't perfect. We self criticize so much that it's like, it just stops me.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to do anything because it just stops me, right? Because I'm just not good enough. So it becomes this confidence thing where in the end, it's what are you going to say? People are going to hear you before they see you.
And the people that are judging what you look like or even how you might deliver a message,
Right.
they're not your people, Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
Because not everything's going to hit with every person. Certain people,
Yep.
like their information delivered in a certain way. And
Yep.
as women, and having society or family or whoever assign our value to our appearance, it's kind of like a big fuck you if you can get on and be like, I don't care because I have something to say. And you're
Yeah.
gonna,
Well, and that's it, right? And I think, and again, it's like the growth thing. Like, had I not been working with the coach I was in 2023 and him challenging me to do the live, he goes, just do it this week. And I'm like, oh, and I sweated through I don't know how many tops. I was so nervous, and then it was like, okay, so now do it this week. And I've not stopped since. And it was like, why did I wait so long? What was my fear? My fear was I didn't have anything of value to offer. People didn't want to listen to me and they were judging me how I was looking, not what I was saying.
and how I found you was from you online doing one of those lives.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many people I scroll past that have things written out or have, videos maybe that are really highly edited.
Yeah.
This person is real and relatable. And what you talked about may have been something that to you was it was about branding. I still remember, and that was a year ago.
Okay.
And for you, it was probably, it's something that you could talk about in your sleep. But to me, I didn't understand any of that. And I was like, I need this information.
Yeah.
So we never know what other people need to hear.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that was like on the Biz 101 today. One of the girls that was there, she had mentioned something, and I said, what metrics are you going to follow for that? And she's like her eyes immediately glossed over. And I'm like, okay, so let's back up. And she goes, I'm sorry. And I said, don't apologize. This is what these sessions are for, like for you to learn, right? And so we ended up spending like 10 minutes talking about what are the metrics, like what are the things she needs to be following and stuff. Because again, like to empower people, it's the knowledge. And I can't say it enough to people. Knowledge is not meant to be kept. Knowledge is meant to be
Sure.
shared.
And it's almost like you're not only doing a disservice to yourself, you're doing a disservice to the world, the person that's meant to hear that message.
Yeah. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves with these people that come in and say you give away too much value to others. Don't give away the bookstore. They're coming in from one book. Don't give the whole bookstore away, right? You can't give them everything. You can't give them so much value that they won't come back. You can't give it all away for free. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not giving it away for free. So my challenge to them is like, well, why not? Why can't I give them what they need through like these whatever, right? And the thought process is fear-based. Because if you give away everything and you share your knowledge, then why do they need to pay you? You have nothing left to offer.
I get that.
And I'm like, I don't agree.
And I think it's funny because we're constantly learning and growing. I mean, me 5 months ago and me now, I learn all the time. I'm constantly learning and developing, and there's new things. And especially with business coaching, there's always something new.
Yeah.
So what,
7 months.
7 months complete change?
7 months from now, you will be considered an expert in what you're learning today.
Oh, okay.
So as we continue, which is why being a lifelong learner is so important, right?
Mhm.
So, which is again, like this is kind of part of what we're talking about today, right? And it's when you're shifting, you're learning. So sharing what you know now with people doesn't mean when they need to come back and work with you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you haven't learned something new to add extra value to working with them.
Exactly. And I think that would almost say that every single client is the same. Everyone has their unique struggles, their unique,
Yeah,
whatever it is, whatever. And I think whatever you're selling, you're going to have to take a unique approach.
right.
And of course,
It's gotta be, yeah. So just think of what you do, right? Like what you're going to share with me is not going to be something that you're going to share with the person sitting beside me,
right?
right? So you can tell me all you want. That doesn't mean it's devaluing what you have to offer the person beside me.
Exactly. And, if you reflect on, and I think this is a good exercise for everyone, who you purchase from. Like Molly McCord is a great astrologer. I followed her on YouTube for years before I got to that point where I'm like, okay, I really want to study like, a lot harder or a lot,
Yeah,
more intense. And I can't even tell you how many different courses I've purchased from her. I went on a retreat with her in North Carolina, and because she had added so much value with all of her free content that I knew when I was ready for that next level, that's going to be a different experience too.
right.
Not
Yeah.
anymore.
And she's growing, right? So even though she's like, that's the thing. That's why like that whole title of guru, I think is like BS.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Like I don't ever claim to be a complete expert in anything because I'm always learning.
Mhm.
And there's gonna be things that I don't know. So if somebody asks me, I'm just gonna say, I don't know about that, but let's go take a look.
Yeah,
Right. So
that's a
yeah.
okay. I wrote down 3 different questions
Okay.
that relate to the Taurus Scorpio integration axis.
Oh,
We
okay.
covered them. I don't even remember what I wrote. So how can I feel stable? And I almost think this could go to someone who's thinking of starting a business.
Okay.
How can I feel stable, financially stable, while allowing myself to transform into to start this new business? And it could go for someone who has an existing business. How do you feel stable if your income came from one thing and now you want to change your offerings or change your structure?
So I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? When you're thinking about growing or scaling your business, making sure that you're planning for that. And I think when we kind of look at our business and say, this is what we're doing right now. Is this what I want to be doing in 6 months from now or in 2 years from now? Or, just like you, right? Like the whole mediumship it kind of was brought in and you were like, I think I'm going to do this.
What's this?
What's this? What am I going to do? And then it wasn't a knee-jerk response. Like there was some planning to it. So it's really like making sure that it's one aligned. And then when you know it's aligned and you're like, okay, this is it. What are the gaps? From where I want to be to where I am now? Do I need to learn something? Do I need a different framework? Do I need to work do I need a team member?
Mhm.
Like we're kind of almost like there'll be a bottleneck.
Yeah.
In order for it to be sustainable, you have to make sure you address the bottlenecks. So, oh, I don't have funding to do what I want. So how do I resolve the funding issue?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't have all the team members. Oh, I don't have a certain level of knowledge. Maybe I need to expand my knowledge. So kind of looking at what are the pieces,
Mhm.
because once you understand the pieces and you know where the bottlenecks are, you can address the bottlenecks, and that's what becomes sustainable.
Mhm.
Because then you can come back and kind of revisit and say, oh, we addressed the funding issue, but did we really, now that we have the team members in place, do we need to readdress the funding issue?
So it's kind of keeping what you have for the stability while you work out all of the wrinkles
Yeah.
in the transformation.
Yeah. So how do you, like, this is where you're at, this is where you want to be. How do you manage where you're at while implementing something new?
Mhm.
And a lot of people have a hard time because it's not even like a 3D, it's almost like a five-dimensional puzzle.
It is because as we're talking about this, I'm getting this visual of just this trickle down, right? Or not trickle down. I don't know why I said that, but like something else is coming in, like a
Yeah.
funnel. Like you're gonna add like a funnel. You have sugar, and now I'm pouring something else in. I'm gonna do a little until it's like less and less of this and more of this.
Right. So you know what just came to mind is uh somebody juggling.
Okay.
So
The
they're right. So they
two
start with
principles.
two, right? Then you add a third
Oh
and
yeah.
you're in a rhythm. And now you're like going, okay, now I need to pick up the fourth ball and add to my act. But what's the timing? What's the rhythm of all of the three that are like in the air? One is in the air. I'm passing another. Now I need to add. So now two is going to be right. So from a juggling perspective, what's your rhythm? What's the timing to adding into this without one of the others falling?
Yeah, that's a perfect metaphor for it.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, I'm reflecting on mine and I'm not trying to get free business advice, but
No, you're good.
just as an example for people. So with the mediumship, I added that. It wasn't necessarily part of my core message, but it does tie in. And then I couldn't just go full force on that because I'm still developing. The more people I do, the more I develop.
Yeah. Yep.
So but I didn't also want to devalue myself because I know that the people that I do sessions for get a lot of value out of it. And so I know that I am offering something of value. But what I put in my offer, and you can tell me if this is really bad, but I put a more normal price, but I said if I can't keep and maintain a connection and give you enough evidence, then I will refund it or we can do a psychic, session.
Right. Yeah, no. So what you're doing is you're offering kind of like a guarantee, right? Like this is your guarantee that I'm being authentic.
Right.
And if I'm not, if I don't fulfill it, then I'll refund the money. Or you can have a second session or whatever that might look like, right? So it takes the fear for them away from, well, what am I going to get? Right?
And that's
Yeah.
good. I'm like, I don't know if it's devaluing myself or making me look not confident, but I'm confident
No,
in
it's actually showing that you are confident in your skills and ability.
good. Well, thank you.
Because you're like, yeah, so it's no risk to you as a client because if you think I haven't hit the mark, you get your money back. You just want to make sure though that you're really clear about how they get their money. Like, how do you know you're not on point?
Yeah.
Right? Because what you don't want is somebody to go, oh, she has a guarantee. So she can tell me all this information. She'd be 100%. And I'm just going to tell her, no, that's all wrong and get my money back.
I know for me what it means, and I even feel like if for me, if I didn't feel like it was quality enough, that I would just refund it.
Yeah.
And so part of me thought, well, maybe I should just not put it in there and then just refund it if I don't feel good enough with it.
Yeah. Which you can still do, right? So you can, even if you just say a percentage, right? Because you've done the work,
Right.
right? So it's like a black and white where it's like, no, but you've done the work. So here's the work,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm not going to give you all your money back, but I'll give you like 50% because that way at least I'm getting paid for some of my time, right?
If I
But
if they had
you need
some,
to just follow your gut, like really intuitively just say, hey, this is what I feel like doing, then do it.
yeah.
And I will likely guarantee you, I shouldn't say that, but nobody will ask for their money back.
I feel that you're right. And I definitely see myself more being the one that's like, I'm not going to charge you, or I'm going to give you 50% back because I know my standards and
Yeah.
and I guess that's part of what I value about myself is like the integrity.
Yeah. So what you now need to watch, if you're going to be the one to pull the trigger on, if it's a refund or a discount, is don't let fear devalue you.
Okay.
Because what will happen is if you kind of look at their body language and their body language is kind of like questioning, like, I don't know, like, like, and you're thinking, oh, shoot, like I'm off the mark or I'm not 100%, then fear is going to, and doubt is going to come in and say, now offer them a discount. And then you're going to say, only pay me 50%.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you need to give yourself on the days and the sessions where you feel that it wasn't 100%, you give yourself like a 72-hour rule. That
Mhm.
if after 72 hours you still feel like, man, I wasn't really on the mark, then you reach out and connect with them and say, hey, I just wanted to check in with your session. How are you feeling? What kind of feedback? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, was I like 90%? Was I 60%? Like where did I fit?
That's
And
good.
then let them tell you. And if they say, yeah, you were like 70% right, then you get to say, okay, you know what? I really aim to be like a good 90%. So here's a $20 coupon for another session.
That's a great idea. And because I'm wording it in my offer that way, it kind of gives me the leeway to then follow up and ask like that.
Yeah.
I do have to say that with everyone, and this is before I started charging on my website, but I always follow up and check in because it's just, you're kind of making a connection with the person too, and
Yeah.
even though I forget most of it, like you're, getting in their personal stuff. So I always like
Right.
checking on them. But I have had a lot of times where someone's like, this isn't sticking. And then they follow up with me and they're like, oh my gosh, you said this. And I asked my mom, whoever, somebody,
Right.
they confirmed all of that. So that's really like validating for me. So yeah, I think that is good to wait a few.
Yeah. Like you want to like cool your jets before jumping right in and telling them, oh, I'm going to give you a discount. I felt off.
So I think this is hopefully helpful to other service-based businesses, spiritual
Mhm.
businesses, even product-based businesses. When I worked
Yeah.
in corporate, we had such a lenient and generous return policy. And in that business, and I know this isn't feasible for everyone, and I know markets will be different, but in that business, the people that did return things were your highest spending customers as well.
Right.
I don't know if that translates to small business, but I guess it's something to think of when we do our.
Well, because it's customer loyalty, right?
Mhm.
It really is the confidence that we stand behind our products, no questions asked. So you have a problem, bring it back,
Yeah.
right? You have a problem with my service, come talk to me, let's make it right. Like, no issues. And
Mhm.
I think that as a small business, building that loyalty is so important.
I think so too.
And
Do you
yeah,
feel
so
there's a fine line between being too overly lenient where you're being taken advantage of, or where you look like you don't really have your shit together, maybe? I don't know if I want to word it like that, and being like confident in what you do and saying like, I will make it right.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think there is a fine line. And I think it's how we word it, right? It's how do we come across that, are we coming from a place of self-doubt and feeling like we're not good enough, and that's why we need to refund or provide a discount or whatever? Or are we coming across as a confidence, like, yeah, this is our standard, this is our expectation, and this is what we're going to do to make it right for you?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of small businesses are afraid because they're afraid of, well, I'm going to get paid. I need the money so bad that once I get paid, I got to spend it because I got to pay bills. I got to do this. So if somebody asks for a refund, I'm not going to have the money to give back,
Mhm.
which then really goes back to where we were talking at the beginning, right? It's kind of like, well, then just trusting and kind of letting go of that perfection and say, what's the plan?
Mhm.
And how are you planning for that?
Yeah.
Right? Because, yeah. And then you know you're in the line.
Right. And I think having that intention setting and that energetic boundary for yourself too. Like I know that I take care of people, but maybe my refund policy will be a little more strict. But at the same time, if someone complains, I know I'm going to take care of them,
Yeah.
kind of going above and beyond.
Yeah.
While we are talking about this, I know I had two other questions on here, but I have to say that I think one thing that can maybe shake us and make us feel not stable as we transform ourselves, especially if we're making a huge change from maybe working a 9 to 5 job to transforming into being our own business owner, uh,
Yeah.
is that you lose family, you lose friends. Um, it you feel like you're in some cases like your support system, if not all of it, then portions of it kind of are dismantled. I don't know why that happens. You're just not the same person. Like you're changing, and if other people aren't comfortable with that, either because it reflects on the parts of them they haven't changed, or maybe you just don't have as much in common. I don't know, but it changes that dynamic. So I think having that core sense of worth within yourself is so important as you go through that transformation, and just knowing that you're doing something because that's what you value, and you value yourself and your time on this planet.
Yeah. Well, and I think, it comes down to, I think, were we talking last week about the mask, coming from behind the mask?
Mhm.
So, right. So I think it's because when we're with certain people, we wear a certain mask, like a certain identity. And then as we grow in our business and we stay in alignment, that mask, it shifts
Mhm.
and it gets dissolved, and people are like, it's unrecognizable. Who are you? And yeah, and so really, I think it's important that those that come along for the ride and stay are because they're matching your shift and your transformation, because they themselves, even if it's not, they're in business for themselves, they're still transforming as well.
And I think a lot of times it's coming back to who we really are
Yeah.
more than changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even think I should ask you the other two questions. I feel like what do you think?
Well, ask me one. What's another one? What's one
Oh,
more question?
I can ask you two more.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Which investments feel like a risk? Oh, this is a good question. Why was I not going to ask this? talking about investments that are risky or feel risky, but can lead to growth. How do you know which risk to take?
Oh, this is kind of where you're I just realized my monitor is like wiggly. Is the camera wiggling? Like every time I shift my arm, like I feel like I'm moving my
It's
neck.
not, but mine was doing that too.
Okay. I'm like I feel like my camera keeps like boom. Um, so I think when we're looking at that risk versus reward,
Mhm.
almost anything we do, there's a risk to it. And that includes like, even walking down the street, right? There's a risk in everything we do. So how do we go about making sure that we mitigate, limit the amount of risk that we expose ourselves to and our business to? And again, it comes back to that planning piece to say, okay, so I'm going to take this leap, and uh, and if it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, what's the worst case scenario?
Okay. That's a very structured way to do it.
Yeah. So what is the worst case? And I can use it in you know, my dad used to say this all the time to me because he was the one that I would go and have conversations with about everything, like all my big decisions. And his final question was always like, what's the worst case scenario?
Mhm.
And I'd be like, I move back home. Right? The worst case scenario was always like, I lose my house, I lose my job, and I have to move back in with my parents. And he's like, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is that? And I'm like, well, and we'd laugh about it. But in reality, it was like, what is my worst case scenario?
And
And face it, because that's the fear.
yeah, that is the fear. It's like playing that what if game.
Yep.
Sometimes the risk of not doing something, of staying put, or staying put is more of a risk than actually taking that chance.
Yep.
I take a different approach. I go with, especially right now for some reason, like what does my heart feel?
Yeah.
Like what is my heart telling me? Not, and I have to shut off the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where the final decision then comes from, right? Because then it's like, well, if the worst case scenario is my business closes, I lose my home, and I'm homeless living in a car in like a big box parking lot. Like if that's the worst case scenario,
I think
okay.
I think about that all the time. And then I'm like, that kind of sounds fun. Like, what if you had a camper and you're just going location, van
Right.
life? I could
Yeah.
blog about that. Maybe that's my life path.
Right. So then you're like going, okay, well, if that's the worst case, then what do I really want to do? Do I really want to go for this?
Mhm.
Because can I be okay with that?
Right. And I know for me, and I think this is true for other people too, I would be okay with that. How I feel like other people would react to that is what would hold me back.
That's the ego part.
It is.
Mhm. Like
Or
if we said to our hearts, yeah, let's do it. Worst case, we're living in our car in the parking lot. Then your ego goes, but what would everybody else say and think?
yeah, they'd think I
What would your
failed.
mother say? What would your sister say? What would your kids say?
And this goes out to all of the adults who come from toxic parents. Um, knowing yourself at no matter what age. Don't let it take you to 45 to figure it out, but understanding what you want, what your values are, because sometimes those values of others in our family, unfortunately, can be put on us and we forget what we really want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think we put what our real desires, we put it aside
Mhm.
because of that societal expectation of, well, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Mhm. That too. It's all just conditioned.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
right now is the time to change all that up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you might as well. Um, all right, next question I put down. Identify areas where you might be avoiding necessary transformation. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
Mm.
Um, okay, so areas where you might be avoiding necessary transformation or clinging. Can't read
So
my.
kind of clinging to the past.
Yeah, clean necessary actions or clinging to the past. I guess I didn't finish that sentence. I could cut that one out of here.
No, it's good. It's right, because that's part of it. Like it's we're comfortable with the old,
Mhm.
right? So we're talking about growth and change and transformation. Change is scary as hell, and people are scared shitless of change. I don't care how much you say, I love to change, I love new things, I love to try all these wonderful things. But yeah, until it hits your core
Mhm.
and that changes, and then you're scared as shit. And then you're like, oh no, I don't want anything to change. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's really just kind of looking and saying, what is going to change? Which really ties into the previous question, right? Change is hard. It's not easy, but it's one step in front of the other. So wanting to change just means identifying what does it look like when you get to where you're going.
And working from, so I'm going to piggyback off that, working from that position and backwards. So that dream life, that goal that you have, and then reverse engineering it.
Yep.
And then maybe breaking it down into smaller, I don't want to even say goals, but like little chunks and
Yep.
visions, and then having those like little freeze frames to get to that big picture.
Right. So I'll use, right. So we're about to put our house on the market.
Mhm.
So I'm having to box everything up. So it's not like I'm going to box the whole house up in a day. Right. So it's like, so what's my system? Right. Because again, change. Well, so, all right. So I'm going to do this first, and I'm going to do a little bit at a time. I'm going to take this step. Oh, I need to do that next. And, actually, ironically, something that my husband always says, and he tells our kids is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when you need to make a change, when you want to go after something, it's like, well, what are all the small bites you need to take to get there?
It's so important to remember that. I heard
Yeah.
someone say that if a goal seems too big, then you haven't, shit, I was really onto something. If a goal seems too big, you haven't broken it down small enough.
Right.
So, like if you, oh my God, to get my house all ready to go on the market, packed up, ready to go, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna chunk it down and just be like the dining room. And then you're overwhelmed with that. You're like, okay, I'm gonna a cupboard. Oh, I'm overwhelmed with that. Okay, a drawer, like one section of one drawer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the spoons.
Yeah.
Because if you stay consistent, then it's going to become the whole house.
Right.
But if it still feels overwhelming, then you just scale it back.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just getting started, I think, is the other thing. Like I had another client, it's overwhelming to think about all the things I need to do. Like I'm looking at all the steps I need to take, and I'm overwhelmed. And so I just want to freeze.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, then just start with one thing.
Yeah.
So using the packing as an example, right? It's like, okay, I literally yesterday was like, I'm just going to start with the cabinets in the bathrooms, like under the sink cabinets where all the cleaning's like, okay. And then all of a sudden I had the cabinets and the drawers all done.
Yeah.
Before I realized, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. I did a lot more than I expected because I just started.
And that's great advice, especially for someone with functional freeze issues or executive dysfunctioning. Because if you start and if you set a timer or if you say that one cupboard or one drawer,
Yeah.
then you end up doing a lot more.
Yeah. Because
So,
then there's a sense of satisfaction. I did it. Oh my God, I did all the cabinets. Oh, okay.
and
For me, then it became a curiosity. I was like, oh, what are in the drawers? Like, so,
it's crazy how much shit we accumulate. That's another, yeah,
yeah,
second theme.
yeah. I laughed because the realtor was like, so you're gonna need to like, clean out all of your stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't have that much stuff. Like we're like pretty minimal. Like we're not like our furniture isn't overcrowded. We don't have a lot of stuff. And then I'm like, oh, look in the cupboards. Look in the, yeah, I'm
Well,
like,
we
okay, yeah, we
can.
have stuff.
I said that to my kid yesterday. I was like, I just get overwhelmed by all this shit, because we're getting ready for a garage sale. So same kind of thing, but
Yeah.
smaller scale. And she's like, we don't have as much as most people. I'm like, and I can't handle this,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's like, that's what I think too. I'm like going, we don't have half this like material stuff that a lot of people do.
Mhm.
And then I keep thinking, but we still have more stuff than we need.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think
And I forgot how good of a hider I was for Christmas presents. Like I was cleaning out this one closet. This is like a scroll moment, but it kind of goes with this whole thing, right? And because as I see things, I kind of buy them as I see them and not necessarily wait to the last minute. And so I have a hiding spot and I was like shoving them up there. While I was cleaning out that closet, I'm like, oh, here's Jerry's Christmas present that I forgot I bought him like last July.
you did it and forgot completely about it.
Yeah. And then as I'm clearing more, I'm like going, oh, and there's two of Phoebe's small birthday presents that I bought her. Oh, last August. And her birthday was last Saturday, this past Saturday. So I was like, so I put it in a gift bag. I said to her yesterday, I said, oh, happy belated birthday. And she goes, what? And I said, I know, I found them while I was cleaning in the closet.
And that's such the truth. But even just taking that story, it's like we always have more than we think that we have. So no matter where you're at in business and life, in finances, just knowing like, I already have a lot and recognizing that too. On the
Yeah.
small scale, not even just like oh, I have bonus Christmas gifts, but
Yeah.
I whatever it is, I have running water. Like even if you break it really down, like we always have more than we think we have. And then here's a really good manifestation hack, money hack,
Ooh,
is
okay.
as you clean things out, and it's a mental thing too. So decluttering is huge, can completely shift your energy. And then if you do it with intention, you can do really any area of your home. But if you come in your front door and the back left corner, I won't even use directions. So the
Yeah.
the left hand corner, like from your front door, back left corner, make sure that area, that room, that space is completely decluttered, deep cleaned. And then in that corner, if you put like amethyst or something that symbolizes abundance to you, you don't have to know like traditional feng shui to do it.
Yeah.
And or a coin, like something that symbolizes abundance to you, and it just does something to your subconscious mind, it will shift your energy around money. I'm going to do that today. I forget about that.
Yeah. I mean, so that's clear. I'm wondering, and that's the thing, like we don't have a lot of clutter.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I have to see if I've got amethyst there. Like I have it behind me here.
I can't see it.
Yeah. I know I got to take my screen thingy off. But yeah, so it's up on the shelf right here.
Yeah,
Oh,
this I have one
uh,
too. I can show mine.
yeah. Aw. Um, yeah, so I think it's so interesting. All
Yeah,
right, so what else we need? Did you pull cards?
I've been shuffling them the whole time because this is what I do, but I haven't pulled them. I was going to do that spread. I don't know. I don't remember what the spread was, so I might just pull a couple.
Yeah, you want to pull a couple?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a brand new deck. I've never used it. It's a little baby one.
Ooh,
Hopefully all that shuffling put my energy in it, and we'll ask what everyone needs to know right now concerning finances. Do we want to say?
yeah, like just yeah, I think finances, like
Mhm.
money situation, money.
All right. All right, we got temperance, so balance, so making sure that everything is done in moderation, how much we spend, how much, we are outputting, that it's all in balance and we're not being excessive. Emotional fulfillment is definitely the main component. So focusing on what fills our cup will bring more abundance. And we got the Six of Wands, which is the card, like the victory card. So
Oh, love it.
yeah, so like the message that I'm intuitively getting with these cards too is just, yeah, making sure that like we're not being completely restrictive, that we're still, enjoying life and doing things that make us feel good and that we value, putting our resources in those areas, but ensuring that it's all in moderation too, that we're not relying on those quick hits of dopamine that make us feel better, that we're not just going out and buying another tarot deck because it makes us feel good for the moment, another pair of shoes, whatever it is, that we're, having that moderation in our spending, focusing on our values and filling our emotional cup. So having gratitude for the people and the things that we do have, and knowing that the wealth of our spiritual life, our spiritual wealth, our soul wealth is more important than our material wealth, and having things in excess, and doing that is going to lead you to victory.
Sweet. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we'll take that message.
Yes, we will. To the bank.
Yes, to the bank. I love it. So next week we'll be back on
Yes.
Friday talking about Gemini season, and that's going to be all about communication, third house themes,
Ooh,
travels,
okay.
local businesses. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. It's fun. So we'll